I'm going to teach you a thing or two about fighting. So, if you didn't already know, if you attack somebody, you're going to lose troops when you solo. I don't know why people do this, but you really shouldn't do this as a whale. I see a lot of whales that do this, though. Don't do it. And you notice I've got one set of gear on one of my heroes and I don't on the other. One thing I'd like to show you is, and this is another boon to those of you who watch me, but basically work on 3 sets of gear, meaning one for imp, one for marksman, one for lancer. Do not do multiple sets of legendary gear. Here's why. Okay, if you're sending a hero and you needed to suddenly go to the other hero, unequip, go to the other hero in question, equip, rinse, repeat. Okay, stupid simple, but yet people don't do this. Why? I don't know. Okay, if you think that that somehow impacts you in arena, yes it does, okay, but I can tell you the guy that has a set of plus 10 level 100 is obviously going to mollywop the living hell out of most people, okay? But I digress. Now, the other thing I was wanting to kind of get at is, okay, so, again, attacking players solo-wise, bad idea. Rally-wise, good idea. Okay, and here's why. All right, between this guy, where, he's sending solos at me, he's losing 60k, roughly, every time he solos. And he's stupidly better than me in a lot of ways. And in other ways, not so much, right? He's got higher lethality, he's got higher marksman health, and he's losing troops, and I'm not. Why? Because it's simple math, guys. Even somebody mildly close to your rank that's maybe only 100 or 200%, it's still not a good idea to solo them, okay? Now, you might be thinking, well, then why is it exactly when you solo people, it works out fine, and you're still losing troops, but you kill a lot more? It's because ultimately, when you're looking at it, it's 700 to 400. When you have more than 50%, you're obviously going to kill a stupid amount of troops. But when the difference is only like 200%, if it's only 50%, not a good idea. You're better off rallying in those instances, And so I only digress on this a little bit because I feel like after all these solos that I did, and I did a lot of solos, as you can tell. I did a stupid amount of solos. But the one that I'm looking for, and of course, I'm going to go back through this catalog of rallies, right? Because I took hits left and right. Let's see if I can find one of the rallies that I actually took and give you an example of what I'm trying to get across to you. Because for example, here's a rally that basically this guy sent 500,000 troops. I reinforced, and of course, when I reinforced, their stats was stupid high. Look at that. 200 to 900. And this is why even if you do rally, don't hit the guy with all the stats, because it's a bad idea. Okay, because like you can see here, there's some T9s, and this is another factor you got to keep in mind. T9s versus T9s, FC3 T10. Well, that'll cause some problems. Tier troops is a big deal here. Okay, and also what's reigned. Obviously I used a defender rally hero, a stun, but again, okay, big whip, but the stats that I bring to the table are pretty significant, and that makes a huge difference, but on the same token, right, I took a rally from Mistra, and Mistra, as you can tell, that was a big loss on my end. 43 mil to 16, and milled almost double that, okay, and ultimately what is different, this person is 900% in some cases, I'm 600, 400% in others. And that obviously does make a difference. When you're looking at 999,000 troops, and you can see there, I took 109,000 FC3 injured, 203 lightly injured. I lost a lot of my weaker tier 5s that I had in there. I lost quite a bit of my troops. In terms of losses, you can see I lost a stupid amount of marksmen. And again, it all adds up, but like when you look at like Mistra, you can see that, yeah, they lost some troops, but they didn't lose anywhere near as much. And part of that's because, when you look at my heroes, even though I had those, that doesn't really play out so well, right? And the point I'm trying to get across is obviously the percentages here are all negative for me, so I'm obviously going to lose a lot of troops. And it was not a rally I should have taken, but I took it because, well, science. It's a good way to teach you guys how to play the game. Now, of course, with a rally like that, you'd think, oh no, that's all game over. Well, it's not always. Like a lot of these rallies and stuff, solos, I was defending people, and so it kind of plays out, and it's totally fine. Like here's like an example of what happens when that person were to solo me. And again, it mostly comes down to the fact that when you take like solos, you can see how much of a difference it made. 180 to 1.2 mil. I have 52k win, dude, but they lost 60k sending it. And that's even with better stats. So, I mean, generally speaking, it's just a better idea to send a rally than it is to solo. I mean, it doesn't play out as well, as you can see. I mean, it's just not a good idea. And if you can avoid it, then probably don't try to solo someone that is near or equal strength, because you're going to wind up losing a lot of troops doing it. Now, outside of that, one of the things that I like to point out from time to time too is that, like, obviously if you're joining rallies and such, you want to make sure you're using the heroes that are going to give you a boon to the rally. So that first skill is going to matter. One thing I learned not really that long ago, is the fact that knowing that this widget won't fire off if you're defending. It only fires off when you're rallying. So if you're sending an attack, it'll apply, but if not, then it doesn't work. The same applies for Flint. Like, you don't want to mix this up. It'll apply if you're defending. It does not apply if you're attacking. So don't try to screw those two up, because you'll wind up finding yourself going, oh, whoops, I wish I had known that. Like for example, Alonzo, probably not the best defense choice here, because it's only for rally troop lethality, meaning I'd have to attack to get the bonus. Same also, when you look at here's defender troop health, like it applies when it defending. Is Alonzo the best pick in the marksman slot? No. Zeman actually technically would be, with his woodpecker giving you 15%. It's little details like that that actually matter. But again, could you have just as easily used an epic? Yeah, but the only reason why I pick Alonzo over a Zenman is just that 240 bonus, and the fact that, it's not the only thing he would contribute in a rally. In a defense, that when you're the captain, it doesn't matter as much, but when you're the person joining, that's the only time where that first skill rule actually matters. Outside of that, though, I mean, again, I nitpick these things, but it's important to also, if you ever find your enlistment full, you need to use that up, so that way you get the most amount of enlistment loyalty points as quick as possible. I would say really about the only other detail I feel like sharing at this point is, so if you go into the shop, if you're wondering what do you buy in the arena shop, you buy the custom mythic hero gears. That's it. That's the only thing you do with an arena. The IP shop, you can optionally go in here, and if you've got the extra gems, then go ahead and buy them. But I only recommend doing that during like events like Alliance Mobilization, where you can actually get points for using gems. And here, I would say the only time I ever use it is for polish, and then for hardened alloys, at least in the Alliance Championship shop, Foundry shop, same deal. I just buy up the polish and the alloys. Now, you could just as easily optionally buy charm designs, because over time, the charm designs and the charm guides are going to be more worth it, I think, in part because the amount of bonuses that you get inside charms is pretty darn helpful, and, it's a boon to you, but obviously you got to have a lot of foundry points to do that. That's why I usually stick to just polishing solutions and hardened alloys, and then eventually design plans if you want to get them. But those are like the four that I think most people focus on in the foundry. For state of power, I would say probably charm designs and charm guides, because I think that made more sense than a lot of the other options that were in here. You can grab fire crystal, obviously, and if you can get the exclusive items, then obviously get the extra fire crystal if you can. But outside of that, in the gym shop, you don't really touch. And the mystery shop is just kind of a, whatever you can get, cool, if not a big deal. And then obviously, whenever you get a chance, run through and get your 5-minute speed ups with the resources that you have left sitting in your inventory. But outside of that, really, there's not really a whole lot to digress on here beyond that. But if you have any more questions, feel free to let me know. And I'll see you guys to the next video.